Hey guys, new games review. 5 on it today. You may notice something a little bit different. I had this in the last video, but I am actually at work, and part of my job at the moment is shaving. So yeah, working on a lead and a zinc mine, I believe it is. So yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing, but it's part of it. Still got to pay the bills. So let's get straight into it. Fine fillies and stylish studs. So why it's called that is a little bit of a long reason. That this company is super big. Um, I have got a list of things to go over, but stylish studs I think is going to be a bit of a banger, and I definitely think worthwhile keeping an eye on. I personally minted one, not minted one, I should say. It had pre-minted before I got into it or found out about it. I personally bought one on the floor, and there's a couple of reasons I'll go over that why. But what are they planning on doing? Building a 3D horse racing game, which will become the horse racing virtual universe of the future. So big statement. You can see here shitload of followers, busy tweets. Let's get in and have a look at their Discord, see if I can find it amongst my mess. So I've only got the one screen at the moment. What I liked about these guys was the level of details they've got. And this was where I'd first seen them. Intro. Where I first saw them, just super detailed. And this isn't a small group, it's not a small team. These guys have been around, they've done previous um, games. So you're going to see photo finishing horse racing. Photo finish horse racing is their Twitter handle. It's a little bit confusing. Um, Photo finish game. I think you'll find that comes down to the previous game they built. So you can see here, March 2015. These guys haven't been around for 5 minutes. They've been around for years, and it talks about it and goes into really big detail about who they are, their previous games, and talks about their current games and what they plan on doing. They want to be having $1 million prizes, something they've got on there. Obviously, that's not capable until they've got it going out. But you get an NFT, which represents your in-game horse. Obviously, your in-game horse is this silly looking thing, but it's going to be based on breeding, uh, making horses, and then racing them for a set amount of time. And then they control the game by not overdoing it. By, a horse is only going to have a certain amount of years of races, and whether that equates down to matches or not, I'm not 100% sure. But a little bit about the team. Game studio with a group of experienced developers, most worked over 10 years in EA Sports. They've built something called Photo Finish Horse Racing Game with 13 plus million downloads. Um, Super good. Like, I'm a little bit fried this morning. I've just come off night shift, so I'm not going to be able to get out the video to perfect standards. But I like what I see with these guys. You can see here 20,000, just over 19,000 on Discord. But where are we for all horses are NFTs? Players can buy, sell, trade horses with each other in the open marketplace. Genetics-based breeding drives the ecosystem. So that's what I was saying before. They can control the inflation by giving them a set period of time for the horses. Players can breed horses with each other to mint brand new NFT horses. Prize pool purses. Players can enter the horses into races in real time against other players and win prize pools. We hope someday of up to $1 million. Players will be able to play a mobile app, play to earn NFT horses. Our game, unlike many competitors, will be fun. So it must be Unity. It doesn't say it, but then you can go into the website. It's got, like I said, a heap of different things. So there's going to be something called the Fine Fillies. And the Fine Fillies, they're going to half airdrop them to existing holders of the the main horses, the the stylish studs. So I think there's a chance it might be a 1 in 4. I believe it might have been 10,000 mint. Um, so it's a 1 in 4 chance to be able to get one. So that's a good chance. There's still time when you get this video. This video will go live today. So yeah, 10,000 when they started off. Um, I don't know what the fine fillies are going to mint for. The stylish studs minted for zero point 0.2 Solana, and the floor's just over 5 Solana at the moment. So that's been a big growth. Whether this is going to be a blue chip, who knows? Whether it's going to be a mid tier, there's a high possibility. There's money in horse racing. There's money in these games. There's a couple of Ethereum versions of it. There's a lot of horse racing games on um, different blockchains, and I think there's a good chance at this one. So, matching a stylish studs and a fine fillies get you an offspring, which is the proper race horse NFT. Test breeding result website on November, December. Real breeding functionality will be Q1 2022. So let's have a look and see whether we can see the website. So the the artwork's actually not terrible. What I did was I sent the missus a list of 12 that were all around the floor and said pick one, and she picked one. She loves horses, so that's one of the reasons why I bought it. It's not really my scene, but she really does love horses. We can't get a horse, so I got her the next best thing. I got her a Christmas present earlier stage. So hopefully she doesn't watch this video. But you can see here 10,000 released September 26th. So that was over a month ago. So in a month they've gone from 0.2 to over 6 Solana high, being at 5 now. So that's the 5 fillies it was talking about the breeding and the game release. So that's going to be next year, I believe, the photo finish. So not a whole heap of information on this. Rarities and all of that don't really matter. This is probably a game that I could foresee myself deep diving, just due to the fact that it's pumped so well. I like the artwork, I like what I see on the Discord, and I don't have the time to go too much deeper. So yeah, keep your eyes on that. Have a look at it if it interests you. Go and have a look. Settlers of the Metaverse. Now, I did watch this one get tweeted about a fair bit. These guys are pretty active on their socials. You can see 2,500 followers, 400 tweets, and joined in September. So what do they plan on being? It doesn't really make sense to me, because when I went and had a look, I did try to get a chat to one of the devs. He did respond, which was super awesome, but it was partway through their mint, so I didn't get to have a good chat with him to find out exactly what the game is. But they've done something which is a first, and that was they had a mini game um, to work out what your NFT was going to be grown out, and that had to do with rarities and things like that. So it's got a bit of a trailer for the minting process. Let's have a bit of a watch of that. Now, I almost aped into getting this just from the hype I had seen on Twitter, and the fact that it was 8,888 Tamigos. Let's go with that. But it was a 0.15 mint, so cheap as fuck. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, it looks cool. I didn't mind the graphics, but I didn't see where the game functionality out of it was. And what was super cool about it was a 6 hour mint, and you did things, you could trade for things, you could do certain interactions and potentially drive up the rarity of this NFT for the game. But then when does the game go? For the research I put into it, they've got comics. It's a bit of a Japanese style. They love their Tamagotchis. It talks about they're just a bunch of boomers, and there is a mention of a game in the roadmap. So it's a bit of a rarity system here. You can see the Sheeters, then it gets into the Nascas, the Motagens, and it starts getting more rare, being the androids and the mutants. So I, I like the NFT. I love the concept of it. It's different. You had to interact to it, which in a way is that kind of fucking off the bots as well, because you've got to interact with it. These bots aren't going to be logging in every 6 hours. It kind of made me curious like this, and then I, went down and had a bit of a look at the comic. I read through half of it, and it was kind of a bit of a funny comic. Uh, but then you go, holy shit, it just keeps going. So they've spent some time in this. So we are a small group of millennials who grew up collecting Pokemon cards, raising Tamagotchis, and playing on Game Boys. Like many of our generation, we hold pleasant sentiments about these communities. Due to a lucky turn of events, we got into crypto several years ago, not long after the idea of building in the space started continuously coming up to our minds. When NFT started getting traction, we found our direction. We decided that a combination of creativity, sentiment, community, and utility in an NFT minigame is exactly what we would like to add in the space. We started working on the concept full time in July this year. It feels surreal that soon we will reveal the result of all time and effort we've been pouring into this project. We can't wait to see you raising the Tamigos and hatching your settlers of the metaverse. So you can see that there is that Japanese writing in there. Obviously, must be a semi-Japanese team or a bit of a mixture. Um, so they've gone through the the roadmap. You can see here, release the mini game generation of shaped NFTs, secondary marketplace, October, November, blue chip buyback raffle, December charity. They're talking about charity, and I think that's going to be voted by the crowd. Um, Quarter 1 next year, first edition of the manga. So obviously video, when you say manga, I wonder whether that actually means some kind of a video production. Quarter 2 of next year, 3D adult settler breeding mini game app goes live. Free tickets airdrop to settlers. So that gives you a bit of an idea there. 3D adult settler breeding mini games. So a lot of these games are going down that route, and I don't know whether that's completely good. Too many going for the same concept, maybe is a bit too competitive. Quarter 3 of next year, together with the community, exploring further development routes. So it's got a bit of a Q&A down the bottom there. Ticket price, finished, claim NFT, 0.15, 8,000. I loved it, and I'm disappointed at myself that I didn't, but it was the time frame I couldn't do it and mint and be able to click on it. I would have loved to have sat it there and clicked on it over that 6 hours to see exactly how rare things got. Their medium had a little bit about rarities, was their most latest article, but then it didn't have a super instructive about the game and all of that kind of stuff. So it looked good. I wish I had it minted, but we move on. There's so many different games. Soul NFT card game. Now, I don't have a lot of detail written about this because what I was seeing on the tweets was I saw the game, I've followed it, I kept seeing how they've got a playable game now. Um, they're going to be launching at October 30. The decks of cards are going to need to be 40 decks of 40 cards to have a deck minimum size. So you're going to have to buy some cards in this game. We'll get into the cost of that as we go through. You can see they joined October of last year. They've only got a couple of hundred followers, 71 tweets. They haven't been super busy. I would have to imagine this is a small team. I don't have any written notes for this one, funnily enough. So you'd have to imagine it's a small team, but I'm going to guess 2 to 3 people, absolute maximum. It shows a little bit of gameplay and talks about it in the website. So they did have a Discord. I loaded onto that, gave it a couple of hours, didn't get a response. I know that's not a lot of time, but there's over 30 games for me to have a look at the moment. I just need to explore some of these games, research them, and just get through them. So the card game itself, you can see the graphics. The cards just didn't excite me at all. I'm an ex-Magic player. I love my Dungeons and Dragons. To me, the artwork wasn't super duper great, and this is why it makes me think it's a smaller team. Maybe one of the devs is doing the artwork as well. What I did like seeing was the cost of the cards. So if you need to mint 10 packets for 50 cards, that's half a Solana. If you mint the individual packets, obviously you're going to be going a lot more. You could go maybe zero point 0.4 of a Solana and get 40 cards exactly. But how does that work? You see different colors on the packets. So I wonder whether it's going to be a similar to like Magic the Gathering, how you have different colors of mana, for example, to cast these cards. So you might be building a red deck, a green deck. There might only be the two colors. There might be a third color with purple. So bit of a gameplay explanation. I did like reading about the ante system. There was going to be two forms of ante where you could ante up a card, or you could do a Solana bid, and the game could be played to earn that way. So you can see some tables playing. No doubt they'll have some kind of championship. That writing on there, does that look like writing to me? I was going to say it looks Arabian to me. Um, but yeah, I didn't go super duper through it, read through some of this. It's their sole NFT card game. I think there's going to be a lot of card games coming out of Ignition. I already know of one other one that's playable right now, and that shouldn't be too far out to go. Let's have a look at the next one, which is Jambo Mambo. Now, you can see the socials, 846, 800 tweets. They tweet too much. August 2021, too much. It's a funny term that sometimes there's tweeting a good amount, but when you've got them on follow, have I not got them on that? I must have turned it off because it was giving me the shits. But you can see that's not terrible, you know. But you go through the tweets and you see some of the actual screen grabs look really cool. The artwork looks really good. They call them, what was the name of Jambos? I think it might be Jambo Mambo. But either way, it's gonna the first game mode mini royale, battle royale with a small, fast, and snappy mechanics. Other modes down the road. So battle royale game, but then played quicker succession. I haven't gone right through this. They're gonna mint at 1.5 to 2 Solana, which is maybe a little bit high for where they are. I think it was only 4,444 mints. And there's going to be different things for that. So they have got a website. Let's have a bit of a look through the website. I don't know whether you can connect the wallet up. Mint price, sold to be announced, date. Um, that's, I think, November. 69 traits, tremendous perks down the road. So the perks are going to be, I think they're going to have like a staking function. They also want to have a DAO that's been mentioned where you get to help guide the motion forwardness of the game. Very common things that are said. The artwork to me doesn't really do it. I like some of the screen grabs I've seen of the actual gameplay. But from there, it talks about how you can get gear for the battle royale. There was mentioned about the skills marketplace, Jambo land. So obviously you're going to be able to buy some land. Snackos is going to be the game coin. And there's going to be multiple ways to be able to get that. So that's going to be the utility. I don't know that there's two coins or not. For now, it's just the Snackos. They plan on building their own marketplace. But here you go. Send your Jambo into a 4-player battle royale where only one will come out. Snackos, give your Jambo buffs with passive skills in the form of items in customizable loadouts. Give commands to your Jumbo in the field and learn new ones with training courses. Build up your owner rating and help your tribe dominate for bigger rewards. So there's a lot of little hints right there. Tribe meaning you're going to be in guilds, clans, however you want to call that. And you're going to be able to obviously do PvE, increase your character along the way. So this is getting that metadata up. This is what I'm saying. If you go and buy all these cards and games and different things, and the NFTs sit there, they may not actually increase in value, and they might get left behind. Discover new toys, aka weapons, item, and training. Beef up with upgrades weekly. Yes, hold longer, get stronger. Talks about the Snacko. So there's a lot of detail for this. I got this from no bearded Asian on Twitter. I just saw him. He tweets a lot about games. Doesn't have a huge amount of following. Let's see if I've got him here. I'll do a proper shout out. I love the name No Bearded Asian. I'm currently a no bearded Aussie. No, it's not there. He must have changed his name. All right, so Jambo Mambo. It's a bit of a medium for it. There's only 3 on the team that I could see. There might be more part-time devs. They talk about the devs, how they've worked in World War Toons, Fallen Night, possibly Call of Duty. Teams part doxed, and they've got a lot of mediums on that. They've got that link on Discord, and they talk about previous games they've worked together. They also want to do some kind of donation thing to dogs in Thailand, to a rescue foundation. and the aim is to get the game out, which will be mobile compatible by Q3 of next year. Um, that's the main things for that one. So let's have a quick squizzy at their Discord. Jambo Mambo. Facts. So you see eight 800. You can still get whitelisted the way they're doing the whitelist, so it's still early to get in there. And I don't know what the whitelisting is going to get. You can see 1.52 Solana was mentioned. Is there a whitelist? Yes. It gives a bit of a guideline, getting in early, being useful for their community. I don't know whether it's going to be a cheaper mint for it, but it wasn't a bad read up. The artwork doesn't do it for me. Am I going to be minting in something like this? Probably not, but could be a good viable game. Next one is MonkeyBall. Now, I'm a bit mixed feelings on MonkeyBall, and I'll go through why. Um, there is a lot of detail on this, but one of the big things you look at to start off with is Twitter. One following. Who are they actually following? Solana. They're not in and deep in the team in the solar part in Solana in the blockchain at all. They've got a huge following, but likely botted if it's going to be joining in October, or they've done some kind of bot contests. IDO on Star Launch, I know nothing about Star Launch. The first thing they're coming up with is IDO. So their Q4 of this year, IDO, Monkey NFT drop, Pioneers training camp. So I think the training camp is potentially involved in buying the stadiums for the land. In-game store launch in Q1 of next year, breeding season. So the game starts by doing an IDO, and that to me is dangerous. I don't like it. It's not being out in the community. Why are you raising money without being out in the community and giving us some kind of a lead in? So yeah, definitely get out there and go and have a look. I'm going to do more than just make warnings, is I'm going to go through some of it. Um, 18 tweets, it does not seem busy enough to me. Now let's go to the Discord, because you can go through some of their Discord. They've got it all locked up in information here. So out of the 8 points here, 5 of them are talking about money, them getting our money. Can I get into the pre-sale? Coming soon. When's the IDO? Coming soon. IDO. What's MBS? That's their token. They've actually got 2 tokens. They've got a utility and um, a token for staking, possibly DAO. Um, when will the game be released? January 2022. How the fuck is a game going to be out by January and they've got no screen grabs of it? They've got no videos. They're not showing us gameplay. They're coming out and saying, we want your money. That, yeah, I'm so skeptical. I've become a little bit more skeptical now. Over 100 games on Solana. You've got games rugging. You've got games failing to get the interest. We saw one that backed off and said, look, we couldn't get the interest, and they refunded. That was Funky Fruits, and it was so awesome to see that, because they've at least given back the crowd that have minted their money back, and just said, look, we weren't up to the challenge, and yeah, that was actually good, because at least they've done it back to the crowd. So the graphics look okay. Um, talks about, you've got some little pictures here. Talks about the games. The game is going to be a 4-on-4 with 4 positions. So it's a soccer game. I think they call it soccer, but obviously football is another term for it. And football is probably one of the most profitable real-time sports played in the world. So it makes sense that there's going to be a whole heap of these football games coming out. There was one just launched on Binance recently, and the top buy-in was $1,500 for a packet of cards to get you 3 players. Whereas this one here is going to be 4-on-4, and I think it's going to be 5,000 mints at 2 Solana. So I think you need to play with a team. But it talks scorer, defender, midfielder, and goalkeeper. The roadmap is here as linked. So they're going straight into the token pre-sale, then an IDO, then an NFT drop. I just, I'm not going to go right through it because I really want people getting out there and doing their own research as well. I can only give you guys as much information as possible that I have time to be able to research myself and give my deductions and why I wouldn't do it. But there is a big one in here. MonkeyBall is a Solana-based play-to-earn sports game that sits at the intersection of FIFA Street and Final Fantasy. The game offers a high-production AAA gaming experience and is being developed on the Unity game engine, allowing it to deploy on desktop and mobile. 4v4 arcade soccer game, easy to learn yet hard to master. Players build a team of four monkeys to play as striker, midfielder, defender, and goalkeeper. Players are playing between two teams in stadiums owned by players and can be watched by other players as spectators. Now that gets into detail later in the white paper. And what's really cool is that it talks about and breaks down. There's a 75% profits of the match go towards the winning team, 15% to the stadium owner, and then 10% to people that are cheering the winning team. And then cheering a team gives them like bonuses in the game. So some of the schematics and stuff, it sounds well thought out, but Monkey Ball introduces the concept multiple revenue streams. This is the big one here. MonkeyBall is being developed by a team of experts in multi-disciplines with unmatched experience in game design and development, having designed games that have generated billions of dollars in revenue in the past 15 years. Billions of dollars in the last 15 years. These guys have done that much. Why would they need to launch a game and the very first thing they do is go, let's get some more money from an IDO? They should have a revenue way of being able to start, produce the game and self-finance, or have backers that have already VC invested them. So for me, that was just straight away a red flag to me. I'm not interested in going anywhere near it. But it didn't stop me reading further down it to read some of it. So the vision is to make the players the ultimate protagonists and shapers of the game, those that consistently play and capture the value for their achievements. Unlike in other games, Monkey Ball offers multiple ways for players to participate in the game economy, whether active or passively. Thus, we are building a gaming world for diverse players with the aspiration to allow the community to adopt various game play roles and freely run a decentralized player-owned economy. So what was really cool was they talk about how you go and watch games, you cheer for those games, and it adds to me like a casting effect, like Clash of Clans did, where you could spectate people doing battles. So there is a lot to read. Um, Another point in looking at, they're not a docs team. It talks how I think there was like I had it written down, 13 people on the team. But if they'd made billions of dollars in games over 15 years, then why the fuck wouldn't you dox yourself? Like, to me, I'm not happy with that. Um, that's why. Um, so realistically, in the end, there's so many games coming to Solana. There's so many games that are struggling to launch and list. How can you have a AAA game coming out in January? I saw this last week. Another potential AAA game reckon they're going to be out by February, and that was a load of crap. So yeah, you've just got to be careful, do your research, look at games, don't just listen to me, go out and search, look at other people's, what are they talking about. Um, in the end, yeah, look, I think there was a couple of good games mentioned out of this list. I'm going to keep trying to smash them out through the week. But yeah, thank you, Mother, for the robots.